Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is going to be another Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, Ash from his channel on YouTube, Clash with Ash, Ash Raid Shadow Legends as he's now known, had a fantastic interview with Cirilla. He put it on his channel yesterday. What this is going to be from me is my views on some of the topics that Cirilla and Ash talk about. I will link the full video below, guys, because it was actually a really good watch. It's long, it's like 47 minutes, but what I would encourage you to do, once you've kind of heard my views, go and watch it in full if you want to get like the full story. But I'm going to bring you the juicy parts, the bits which I think the community are going to really want to know, and also just give you my kind of views on what she says. So the first kind of strapline that I want to pull out is her comment where she says she was in like a private closed meeting and she said the roadmap for the year is ample and impressive. So that sounds good. That sounds like a good start. She then goes on to talk about, and I will play some clips from her commentary, but I'm going to pull a couple of topics out first. So she talks about silver cost with Ash, and I know that it's a huge problem in the game, especially with the amount of content that people are having to re-gear for. So, you know, you might only be able to run 3 or 4 or 5 teams at maximum. And a lot of people had to re-gear their teams completely for Doom Tower and then almost like re-gear back for stuff like Clan Boss. And I know it's a massive issue. I've got to be honest, in the interview, they don't really come to any firm fact around what's changing. There's nothing, doesn't feel like she's got an answer that something is changing. But she does say that they know it's an issue. Okay. I mean, I'm going to do a senseless little plug here. We've just released a tool which helps you gear champions much cheaper. But go and see my other video for that. The second thing which they go on to talk about is the Doom Tower. And actually the fact that they feel like the Doom Tower is too hard in places. And that's generally in the waves. And it tends to be, as she mentions, hard Doom Tower levels 50 through to 70 need to be adjusted a bit. I agree with that, actually. I was trying to help Fiction get through some waves with his newly built Sonic. I think it was like level 56 or something like that. And it was really hard. Really hard. If you don't have a seer with a reset champion doing that work for you, then it is really, really tough to get up to the next boss stage. And it seems to me like the boss stages should be the hard thing and the waves should be tough. They should be like a gear check, but they shouldn't be the reason that you lose. If you can beat that next boss, I feel like if you've got the gear to beat the boss, you should be able to have the gear to beat waves as well, in my opinion. So I like the fact that they're looking to adjust some of the waves. And when they talk about the boss fights, I really like this as well. And some of you are going to hate this, but I really like the fact that they think some of the boss mechanics are too easy. And the reason why I agree with it is because for 3 of the bosses, if you do not let the boss have a turn, you win the fight. And that's too easy. So what I would love to see is someone like Agreth, the spider with all those poisons. I would like to see that spider always go first. How hard would it be if you're already facing the mechanics of the spider? Right now, most of us don't face the mechanics at all. We turn meter control it, and we don't have to worry about all of that stuff going on. So I really like the idea that they're looking to change that up. I think Sorath is already kind of cool. In terms of you've got mechanics you've got to overcome, you've got to get HP burnout, you need fears, you need leeches out, and you need to either block revive or HP burn the boss. So that all makes sense. You've got mechanics you've got to deal with. I think with the Scarab, you've kind of got mechanics you've already got to deal with, but they're quite easy to overcome once you've got yourself a little pattern. For hard Doom Tower, at least, I feel like they should change the Scarab so that every time you have a turn, you lose a percentage of HP of your shield. That's going to go down like a lead balloon, I know it, but that way you won't have these kind of crazy weak champions controlling the meta when really they shouldn't be. But that's my view. The last one for the Magma Dragon is just way too easy. I kind of like the idea of something like when you attack him, if you place a provoke, you also get something like True Feared, so you just can't constantly replace that provoke, something like that. Or you take a stun if you place a provoke. Something that says, if you provoke me, you can't do it again straight away, basically. And I think if you do that, then we'll start to see all of those boss mechanics coming through, and then it'll be more challenging but more enjoyable content. She then goes on to talk about the balance patches that are coming up. So things like changing the strength of weaker epics and legendaries. They are planned, especially Void, she mentions, but after the kind of big drop of a new content. And this is what she says here.
Here's why. As you may know, we are releasing a new faction early spring, and this is going to be a long-awaited samurai faction.
Cool.
So she mentions a samurai faction, which we've all been thinking at least that it's shelved because there's so many champions that have come into the game that look like samurais, but in different factions. So she then goes on to say, samurai faction coming early spring. Early spring in my brain is like, I don't know, March? Is that spring? Are we still in winter? March or April? March or April anyway. But it seems like March or April is going to be the timeline for a new faction, which is cool. I like the idea of that. I kind of feel like if they're doing a new faction, you've got to flesh out the champions for it. Like the dwarves still look like they're not a finished faction. And if they bring in something like the samurais with a similar number of champions as the dwarves, people might be frustrated by that. But I like the idea of a new faction. They do say, though, that these balances are coming after that drop. So basically, they want to bed in a faction, see how powerful it is and where it sits in the meta before they do balance changes. So it says to me, we're probably a good 5-6 months away from having a champion kind of like rebalance in the game, which I wish they would do at least like 4 or 5 champions a month. Like they've done with this AI fix they're doing in January. Give us a few AI fixes and a few champion patch kind of tweaks per month, please. So the next thing they're going to talk about is Battle Pass Season 2. And I've kind of got some insider info in here that Battle Pass just didn't work. It didn't work for them financially, or not necessarily financially, actually. It was their KPIs just weren't working on the Battle Pass in the form they released it. And I'll play the little clip here around what she says.
And it is connected to Battle Pass, but we just want to interest you in something more enticing, I would say.
Okay.
So she says they'd want something more enticing, and the wording here is a bit funky, right? Anyone that I talk to that still plays the game that had Battle Pass Season 1, for those guys who don't know about it, we got a shed load of stuff. We got an absolute load of stuff. Glyphs, champions, gear, energy, silver. Like, there was tons of stuff for really good value. So for her to say more enticing, I don't think it makes any sense to me. Like, if they re-release Battle Pass Season 1 right now, even with all the same champions, I would still buy it because of all the other stuff. So for her to say more enticing, I feel like they're looking at KPIs, they're seeing an answer, and I can't believe the answer. I don't believe the answer. So something is weird about the way they're looking at Battle Pass Season 1. It looks like they're going to do a complete revamp of the whole Battle Pass kind of setup, which makes sense, I guess. If it didn't work for them, they're going to change it. But she's very vague around what it would look like or when it's coming, all that sort of stuff. So I guess we move on. So the next big topic that they go into is dupes. Dupe systems for epics and legendaries. Again, I'll play a little clip so you can kind of hear where she's going with this.
But yes, the answer is we have a couple. I think there's more than 2 concepts of solving this problem. And as I mentioned before, these concepts are really like formidable features.
Mm-hmm.
So she talks about the dupe system being features, formidable features. And I must have been on an interview with Cirilla now a few months ago where I asked a similar question to Ash here around dupes. And again, we were told it's high on the agenda. We've then seen a post either from Cirilla or Valk, I can't remember which one it was, that said, don't worry guys, it's coming. We really want to get something in for dupes. And it seems like they still haven't landed on a solution. And I mean, you can just go and look at other games. You can go and look at other games, and there are just tons of options. You know, we could get fragments, dust, if you call it dust if you like, but fragments towards, you could put them into any of those fragment collectors. as an option. You could put 5 legendaries together and ping out 1 brand new legendary for your account as an option. You could put 3 together if you're being a bit more generous. You know, maybe you put 2 epics together and you ping out 1 new epic as an option. There's a ton of stuff you could do with this, and I actually don't feel like you need to think about it that long. I'm the sort of person that's like, give me a good idea and we'll make it happen as quick as we can, not give me a good idea and then we'll think about it for like the next 6 months. So it feels like Dupe system and Silver actually are 2 things they just got to turn something on for, because at the moment it's probably the 2 things which are holding the community back the most in terms of just being pissed off about stuff in the game. And just to round that off, she goes on to say the first half of 2021. So, I mean, you've got a 6-month window there. But it doesn't feel like they've got anything yet. So it feels like it's towards the end of that period if they actually hold that date. So the next topic they talked about is actually the Void Tower. And for those that don't know, I can't even show you my game at the moment because it's down. But basically, there's a big chunky tower on the left-hand side of dungeons. It was always called the Void Tower. They then released a video that said, hey, you know the Void Tower. Well, we've changed it to the Doom Tower. And it's going to be la la la. And it kind of talks about it all, right? Cirilla then says, the Void Tower was never going to be the Doom Tower. It's always, they've got plans for it. It's always going to be the Void Tower, but there's no immediate plans. I just feel it's a funny one because blatantly, the Void Tower is a big tower, purple tower. Blatantly, it has become the Doom Tower, right? It's blatant. There's no doubt in my mind that's what it was. And now they've got other ideas. Cool, they've got other ideas for this stuff. Ash goes on to ask, is it going to be something for books? And the kind of feedback is pretty much no, there's no plans for books. That's the way I read it. But I might be reading into it a bit over the top. But it doesn't feel like that it's going to be for books. Cirilla talks about it will enhance your champion's skills. And she actually says not necessarily books. So still don't really know when it's coming or what it will be, but apparently they got big plans for the Void Tower, which was never going to be the Doom Tower. So the next big topic on the agenda was Hydra Boss. And Ash was just asking, is the Hydra Boss still on the cards? And here's a clip from Cirilla.
The Hydra boss is in the plans, but for now we are I think players would be more interested in what we are doing in the nearest future.
So basically she says, yes, Hydra Boss still in the plans. She goes on to say basically it's towards the end of the year. But the next thing she comes on to talk about, which is something that they're working harder on, she talks about releasing in winter. So I think there's a good chance that Hydra Boss is at least a year away for a kind of clan boss event. But the next thing she does talk about is Clan Wars, which I'm super excited about, which she talks about in the winter. Yes, bring us some clan versus clan activity. Bring us something which activates the need for a clan other than this one feature clan boss, which has been there from the start. Make there be a requirement to kind of level up these different things in your clans. Give your clans more strength for being stronger. Like, there's so much you can do with clans in this type of game. They kind of dabbled at it with Doom Tower, and I liked what they've done. It's nowhere near far enough, but I've liked that they're trying to think about it. So she doesn't give any concrete info about what it is. Hopefully we'll find out more about that soon. But yeah, at least they're kind of thinking in that mindset of clan wars, clan interaction, something going on. And then I think, guys, just to sort of round it off, the last thing of any note that she talks about for me is that Doom Tower floors looks like they're going to stay the same for 3 months. So it looks like secret rooms, floor compositions, all that type of stuff will be the same for 3 months. And then they're going to do like an update on Doom Tower in about 3 months, when I think they're going to do things like the adjustments of the hard floors and the adjustments of the bosses, just reading into it. So I don't know that 100%. I'm just reading into it. But as I say, guys, this is a snippet really from that interview. Go and check out Ash's video because it's a really good one. Really worth watching that in full. I did. And yeah, hopefully this has brought you some of that information if you didn't already see it. I've been Hell Hades. That's been my views. I'll catch you later.